What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to our hybrid breakdown series. We're going through each week, giving you a simple template and some examples of how to apply the hybrid 4D system. If you have not seen weeks 1 through 4, they are in the comment section down below. Absolutely go back, start with week 1, where we're going to establish the baseline strength, which is the framework for the following parts of the program. Week 2, we go over stabilization and endurance, building capacity and control. Week 3 is very similar to week 5. So there's 2 weeks where we're focusing on hypertrophy or building muscle size and density. Really the only difference between week 3 and week 5 is the amount of rest time. Week 4, we go over the strength curve, manipulating the different ranges of motion so we make sure that you remain strong and competent in the extremes and in the mid ranges. And like I said, week 5 is tempo hypertrophy with higher rest. Because we're on the tail end of the 8-week block, we do want to make sure we're not frying our brain, getting our nervous system overworked or overtrained, and we're able to lift with high enough load so we get the stimulus required to be able to break our original baseline tests in week 8. So most of this is review, but a couple different things on why we're resting for a longer period in this week. So I won't get too crazy into this, but there's 3 main ways that your body or your cells can produce and utilize energy. All of the cells are using something called ATP, not important to remember, but that stands for adenosine triphosphate. So think 3 phosphates. When you remove a phosphate bond, there's a release of energy, and that's how life happens, okay? When you're trying to replenish that phosphate so it turns back into ATP so it can be reused and the energy system keeps flowing, there's 3 ways that you can do that. The first way is through the use of creatine or the creatinol phosphate system. Supplementing with creatine is actually a really good idea while you're on this program, but that only lasts for the first couple reps or about 30 to 45 seconds. This is the area that we want to be working in this week, okay? So we want to have longer rest periods so we can replenish the creatine and the phosphate so we can lift a little heavier with more intensity. As you burn that off, you'll start to utilize glycogen for fuel and then finally oxygen, which is what aerobic exercise is. So we want to stay mostly in the first one, a little bit in the second one, so the intensity is high. We're also going to be using a lot of heavy negatives or overloading the eccentric portion of the movement so we can get used to a higher load and there isn't quite the same demand on the nervous system. So again, this week's all about building muscle. We're going to get out onto the floor, give you some examples. So let's get into it. Peace.